Take him below.
There's got to be an easier way to find a credit card that's right for me.
Well, Credit Karma is here to help.
Ooh.
You can browse your personalized recos, see your approval odds, and bingo cha-chingo.
Find a credit card that's right for you with Intuit Credit Karma.
Parakeet and Tiny Pink Cat sold separately.
It's not there. It's a mistake that even the finance saying that it was the Jewish people that were enslaved, or the people that Moses brought out of there to the promised land. I understand you're a believer. Yeah, I look also from that perspective as well. It's like something I can take and take. Is there a religion that you believe in? Are you Jewish? I'd say so. Wait a minute. So you're Jewish, but you're an atheist. But I might be a Christian, but I'm defending the Torah. I find it hard. Dilemma. Okay, can you tell me, does the Torah say to put a stack of wad of bills near your ear? Can you explain to a naive guy like me what that is? It's a conversation starter. Obviously, and I know you mean to provoke, and by me engaging in this at all, I'm pretty much falling into your hands. But the world doesn't really need. The world needs as many anti-Semitic tropes as there. You're doing a really good job, I guess. So go on with it, because there isn't enough. There will never be enough anti-Semite tropes like yourself. Go ahead. I just would like to know, how does it feel to carry on this kind of hate? I personally, I don't hate. Of course you don't hate. Then what's that trope about? What is that trope supposed to tell me? What is it supposed to tell me? Like, if you disregard this photo and you look at the message that I was trying to relay, what message are you trying to relay? The message that there is a God, and He brought your people, our people, out of Egypt through the Exodus. You're talking about a lot of certainty, which, as the room title says, is irrational. Okay, I'll ask you this then: if there wasn't an Exodus, the people of Israel just magically appeared out of thin air. No, that's not true. Why would that be in any way true? Because that's engaging now with what do they call it? Cognitive psychologists call all or none thinking. Okay, that's absolutely. If it's not this, then it absolutely didn't happen. It doesn't work that way. Maybe they existed, but maybe they were reported as being existing, and so on and so forth. Are you saying that the only authority in what happened in that region during that time is the Bible? No archaeology, no historians. You can even look outside of it. You can look at the hieroglyph, the structure, the wars between the nations at that time that were all. They all mentioned, and they are not the Bible. They all mentioned that there was Hebrews, that's Israelites living there. Not all of them mentioned that they were slaves, but or some of them don't even mention. They all of them mention. They don't mention about the Hebrews being slaves. There's absolutely no archaeological evidence. But that's not my, I'm not going in that direction. I'm more interested in impact. There are a lot of people that believe, in the Exodus. And what's intriguing to me is, how does that affect what goes on afterwards in the world? What are the lessons to be learned here? The Exodus, what do you say?
Eitan, it's liberation theology, and you're never going to get a straight answer out of this guy here who goes by the name Rabbi. If you want to know about certainty, you can learn about how people waste their time. Certainly, they do at an exceptional rate. It's almost as if they're very rich and have nothing better to do with their lives than to use a conference call app to, do their little shtick. But if you do a little shtick, does that mean you got a little dick?
I love it. Thanks a lot, Progressive. Oh, you're the man. So we got potentially 3 different Jewish people in here. You got one that says he's atheist. You got one that's a Christian. And a guy who practices this witchcraft. And I'll have you know that being Jewish, I may be 1,000 different things at one point in time. I may be my profession. I may be my position in my family. I may be my where I am as a citizen of one place. I may be a member of a party. But do you see how you bring that up? You see how you have filtered everything else out? You see your so-called certainty. You see where that comes from? You have a blind spot, then you filter out everything else. And this is why you're certain, because all you see is one thing. So you don't have many choices. You're going to be certain. You don't have many intellectual choices, Mr. So-called rabbi. Go on, I'm enjoying this. I could use physical evidence outside the Torah, outside the Bible, to point right back to the Torah.
You didn't answer my question. How come when a person has so many aspects in their life, you only pick one of them and that's all you focus on, and you think that's more important than everything else?
Because the aspect is there's supposed to be a nation that's supposed to bring people to God.
Okay, fine. You believe that? That's your call. That's fine. But see, you see, I heard a nice saying the other day. It says, if you can make people believe absurdities, you can also make them cause atrocities. Okay, that was Voltaire, by the way. You're familiar with Voltaire?
Not familiar with him.
Who's familiar with him? Rabbi, you're not familiar with him, right?
No.
I know, because the other day you also weren't familiar with Freud and you weren't familiar with Sartre. So, these are the kind of people that put up PTRs that you put on. Because you completely lack any content to put anything more intelligent than what you're putting out, and you're getting a rise. Because this is about the best that you can do. I really feel sorry for you.
I feel sorry for you because you reject the Torah.
I don't reject the Torah. I just don't believe it was divinely inspired. But I think I know quite a bit more Torah than you know, a little sunny boy. I think I know the actual language that it's written in, which, by the way, everybody who wants to study anything, if you want to study the New Testament, you should really study ancient Greek. And if you want to study Torah, you really should study biblical Hebrew. You'll find it an extremely rewarding experience beyond what people say that is some kind of divinely inspired thing. It's a literary jackpot treasure. But okay, go on. Tell me something about Torah, so-called Rabbi. Tell me something.
Okay, imagine your ancestors. They were leaving with Moses. They were embarking on the journey. How many generations does it take to start losing faith?
It doesn't have to take any generation to lose faith. I have a very religious family. What is the kind of question is that?
Well, you got to figure, your ancestors seen it physically happen. And then at some point, there's a disconnect.
There's a disconnect from me?
Yes, you're saying you don't view it the same way.
Well, I have to view it exactly the same way. I just can't look at the Ten Commandments and say, wow, do not kill, respect thy parents, and do not covet your neighbor's wife and all this. And I can't say that's great. I can't read Genesis 1:26. You know what Genesis 1:26 says? Torah man? Rabbi? Teacher? Say it.
Let us make man in our image.
Absolutely.
It says,
so I find that to be a very
beautiful
thing
man in
to
his
say.
image.
I am inspired by that. I even have a plaque, and I don't even believe in God, but I like the fact that there was this religion that came out 3,000 some odd years ago, that they understood that all people are created by the same. They all come from this dignified source, and we should all treat equal other people as if they were from the highest form possible. I love that. That's what I took from it.
I took it as the Trinity, and I took it as, I can't hate God's creation, no matter where the person comes from, because at the end of the day, God created them, but I don't have to respect what they stand for if they just stand for something else.
Alright, so right off the bat, if you believe in the Trinity, and if you have any ounce of integrity, you really should change your name from Rabbi to something else, priest or something. That's absolutely no respect that you're showing. And I believe that your Trinity, religion, God, Christianity, teaches you to respect other people and do not do what you don't want done to yourself. And agape, you know what agape is?
The greatest form of love.
Absolutely, and it's unconditional love. It's the love, selfless love. And I haven't seen you display any of that. I think you're basically very delusional. And I think that's a fine topic for certainty. It's people like the so-called rabbi here, see how certain he is in his beliefs and how far removed he is from any semblance of reality. You are not in reality if you're taking yourself seriously, which I don't think you are. I think you're trolling like half the people do here. But I'm amused, so, I like to hear what you have to say.
But there's a spot for love, and there's also a spot where you're supposed to be firm with the love, not
Firm
necessarily
or abusive, do you know the difference?
Abusive, if they're taking it to their own hands, it could be abusive. But if
you don't think putting a stash full of dollars with a guy wearing a yarmulke is not abusive? You really don't think that?
Who's he abusing?
What, you don't think that's abusive?
Who is he abusing?
You really don't know who that's abusing? You know why you put that there. You know who you wanted to provoke.
I'm in the stock market.
I don't really ask when you're in the stock market. You can be hateful in any profession. Why did you put a hateful trope and now you're preaching love? This is why you have certainty, because you are delusional.
Okay, what message is it professing?
You tell me. You're the one who put it there. You tell me why you didn't put a telephone there or a baby elephant there or anything else with money. You tell me why. Okay, you're representing an ethnic, racial, a religious group or whatever. Okay, that you said are God's people, no less, and you put this as obvious trope referring to their money practices and their love of money.
No, not exactly, because this guy is actually a rabbi as well. And
who's a rabbi? You're not a rabbi.
No, this guy is a rabbi. The photo.
He's not a rabbi.
So he's listening to the money. Hey,
He's a
Rabbi.
He's a stock trader as well.
Hey, Rabbi. So is he listening to the money? Is that the joke, or what the fuck?
It kind of like he's in touch with it because he has good analysis.
Do you really believe that Jews are the only people who? Okay, someone else wanted to talk. I can go back after I cut off somebody here. Go ahead.
Oh, I asked a question. Is it like listening to them? I mean, I'd rather change the subject. I've got to think
All right,
about.
we'll change the subject, but I see this anti-Semitic jerk in every room with a different anti-Semitic trope every freaking time. I have to agree right now. I can throw you out like a motherfucker, but I won't.
Listen, if you want me to take down this photo, I'll take it down.
What?
But the last time we had the other photo, I took that down out of respect for you.
You're gonna do great. You're gonna remove the symptoms. But what about the effing fucking disease, motherfucker?
What disease?
You're diseased. You are diseased. You don't get it.
So I got rid of the other photo that you wanted, and I didn't post it up.
See, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, you put it down because I wanted to. You're not spiritual enough not to want to put it up yourself. Okay?
No, out of respect, If you want me to take this down, I'll take this down. I'm not like that guy. If you want me to take this photo down, I'll take it down. I'm not.
I don't give a flying fuck what you do. I'm sorry, people in the room that I got
Not
off.
a problem. I was just wondering why we can't all be well behaved, well listened, like John Kitover. What's up, John Kitover? How you doing?
Oh, my friend, John. Hey.
Maybe he's busy.
Busy man. Running for office.
John, I hope I wasn't giving you too much credit there. I was thinking you were just, taking a turn, listening. Apparently not.
He's probably on his 20 other devices right now.
People down there. I see you guys.
I could point towards physical evidence that points right to the Torah.
I'd like to hear this. What if the people in the room don't mind? I'm sorry I went off on a tangent here. I think people want to talk about something else, but people are okay with this.
If you want me to change the photo, I'll change it.
I don't give a flying fuck what you do. Don't you understand that?
Why did you get mad?
Because because you don't know what you're doing. It's frustrating being in a world of incoherence. They drive cars, they vote, and they serve in the army. Okay, that's scary that there are incoherents like yourself. Okay, this room is about certainty, and I'm sure you are certain about your beliefs. So whatever. That's just our world. What are we gonna do? Okay, go on. Say what you want to say.
There is physical facts that points towards a divine creation, divine creator, and it all points back to the Torah every single time.
Can I interrupt you? Can I interrupt you for just a second? If you just change the modifier for creator, are you saying that there's room for a creator that's not divine?
Then they wouldn't be divine.
Right. That's kind of my point. So could there be a creator that is not divine?
There could be a creator, but they'll be operating under the authority of the divine creator or in the reality of the divine creator.
So you're saying there can't be creation unless there's divinity somewhere behind that chain?
Like, for example, we live in a reality that the divine creator created, and we only have
I just want to say that you believe that you're speaking with certainty, but let's assume that we grant you that, right? So that there is a divinity out there behind creation. If that were the case, if there was some, do you have any concept for where that divinity came to be divine?
Well, it does rely off of creation to exist. It existed before creation, and we exist in the creation.
How do you suppose, as a confident person, that came to be the case? Like, what mechanism would make the divine just be divine when it woke up on its first day of breathing?
Would make them divine?
Yeah.
Because they're above creation.
What does that mean?
They existed before the creation. They exist after the creation.
Okay. I guess what I'm asking is how? How do you make sense of that in your head?
Easy. If they can exist outside of creation before creation.
Wait. The if is what I'm questioning. How do you suppose it is that they could just be divine before anything else is even created? Like, nobody created them. They are the first thing, right? Like, how did it get to be that they also, like, it's pretty incredible to also be the first thing, but to be the first thing and be, as you said, above this all. Like, what is granting that in your certain mind?
Well, they're not contingent on anything else, and there's not a higher power.
I understand. I know all the philosophy behind it. What I'm asking you, how do you make sense of that?
It's simple. Without them, we wouldn't have what we have.
Okay, that wasn't a how. You notice what I asked, right? You just gave a reason for why you think what you think makes sense.
So you asked me a question, how? I gave a reason.
No, you didn't. It's a category error. I asked how. How do you make sense of that in your mind? Not like.
How do I make a sense of it? All right.
What mechanism would allow something that is the first thing to have this divinity property that you're speaking of? Like, it couldn't have been a magic wand tapped on the shoulder because there was nothing else to do it. But yet, the first, which should, and you keep using the word simple, which should be the most simple thing, you flipped that and you said the first thing should be the most complex and powerful and almighty, right? That's the part of the question.
Can you have reaction without cause?
I don't think I was waiting for you to ask me a question. I think I had asked you a question, right? And I just want to know where your certainty comes from that this is a property
without cause.
I just want to know that you think that it's possible for something to be the first thing that has all the power, right? That we've never witnessed, by the way, but yet this first thing has this exclusive power of this divinity thing. You seem certain that that's the case, but you don't seem certain of how that could come into existence, right? I'm not. I'm just wondering where you get the certainty from that you can clarify.
I get the certainty from the Torah, and then I check and I see the evidence, and I'm like, oh,
no,
wow, it's amazing.
I just want to think about that, follow that through. So your certainty of the first thing that came to be all powerful and then lead to everything else came from something that was created billions of years after that thing. So in the gap between the billions of years that it was for the Torah to come into existence, what would you have said? Like, would you just said there might be a book someday that would explain it? Like, that's weird, right?
So we'd have to go off of physical evidence, things happening, things beyond our understanding, things that
that's where I'm going to. So it would be beyond your understanding of how something could be the divine before anything else existed, because it's beyond mine too, and that's exactly why I'm not certain in it, and it's why I don't think it's a thing. I hope that makes sense.
I can see where you're coming from.
No doubt.
But it comes down to, regardless of perception, regardless of everything, and opinion, there is physical facts that we can't really tap dance around. All belief system, all ideologies acknowledge certain things happened, and there's no negotiating it that it didn't happen. And that's what I'm going off of.
Gotcha. What's up, Johnny?
You're saying that things, you believe these things because they're in the book. like this book, which, as Pro pointed out, was written by men, by people, billions of years after creation. It's very strange.
I mean, it could be very strange, but then I believe it because of the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Which you believe because of a book.
No, I believe because he died and resurrected, and then the people.
Well, okay, I guess that you believe that. I guess that you believe that. But surely you must recognize the fact that the only reason you could believe that would be to first know about it. And the only knowing about it comes from a book written by people.
And then you have to cross-examine it, check out the historical sources, otherwise it's just a book with no evidence.
Yeah, and as Pro says, I mean, probably the real thing, and I'll stop here. I'd like to talk with Ben, too. Just quickly, Ben, are you in the U.S.?
No, I'm on the plane.
On the plane, okay. Your internet.
Yeah.
All right.
We've got the internet, which is weird.
Yeah, it's like the boat. Anyway, I think Pro's point, that somehow this weirdness, I mean, unless you happen to be, maybe this should be my last question. Are you a person who believes that dinosaurs existed and rode on a boat with humans, 3,000 or 4,000 years ago?
Well, the definition of dinosaur didn't exist in the scripture, but we see stuff like dragons. That's how they perceived it to be. It's probably like a language thing. For example,
so
we might not see.
Believe in dinosaurs, but whatever those things were, did they ride on a boat with human beings a few thousand years ago?
Well, Noah's Ark was pretty big.
Okay, that's my answer. Thank you.
It's irrational. That's really definitely irrational.
No, I'm thinking the Ice Age is taking the credit of the Great Flood.
I took a group of dinosaurs on a boat yesterday. I just wanted to update my PTR.
I just want to say that I see there's many people on this stage that may not like me personally, and I just want to say that is proof there is a God, because only through God can you create such variety, such dynamic personality. There's no other way. And so what was that?
Not through evolution. That's not a possibility.
Well, of course that's a possibility. I'm just saying that in the now, mindfulness tells me to tell the haters in the room that you don't hate God. You actually are lazy. You don't like books anymore because.
I like you, John. Who hates you in this room?
Oh, well, I'm being, yeah. See, there's some. See, there's some people that hate me.
Both Johns in this room.
I like John. I actually don't dislike John. I don't dislike Ben. I just dislike the way that Ben speaks. I don't think he speaks English. And what I'm saying is, if you waste all your time on this app talking and listening.
I don't know that I actually hate anybody.
Yeah.
I do think that John's a scumbag.
Well, you might think I'm annoying. You might think I'm a scumbag, but nonetheless, I am a man. And just like Rabbi here, who I think is annoying, but yet sometimes he can be funny, he's still a human. And so we have to essentially come to the conclusion that these atheist rooms are boring brain rot rooms devoid of anything. Imagine going to an opera and watching an atheist opera. It would be so fucking boring. But if you went and you saw...
That's an interesting idea. So when you go to an opera, you think that it has a religious component simply because of maybe what the lyrics are that are on the sheet? Meaning, like, if you went to watch a bunch of actors do a movie, I don't think you would think of it as necessarily like an atheist movie or a religious movie if it was just, let's say, like a Western or something. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just weird that the actors are just acting, right? The singers are just singing. But that's an interesting topic. I've never thought of an atheist opera before. You've planted that in my head.
Well, in defense of John, where would the opera get their morals from? How do you know they're not going to take a shower and they're not going to show up naked and they're not going to steal your money?
Well, look at it this way. What is the difference between a philosophy book and a cookbook?
I think atheist opera would be a great name for a rock band.
Opera, I was thinking do an atheist rap opera. That'd be cool.
Atheist opera is such a dope concept. I love that.
Well, if you've ever seen the Ring Cycle, or what is it? I can't remember, Faust or whatever. My point is that it's like watching the Avengers versus walking into an atheist clown house room, which is nothing more than a put down room where people just put people down. And there's always a language barrier. Usually the person being put down doesn't speak American English. You have to be really observant to figure out what type of game people are playing here on this conference call app.
Right. I shouldn't do that as much as I do, Ben. And I apologize if you've taken any offense to that. You're not speaking the actual English that we speak here in the United States, Ben. I hope there's no offense taken.
He doesn't even know what shag means.
Guy, I'll let you be his representative. Sky, I hope you don't.
Hey, Pro, let me just ask you quickly. Have you ever had to shag a ball?
That sounds like you're setting me up for a
I am setting you up. Just wondering.
Yeah, I think I have. I think I have actually.
Ben, your turn.
John, you know the answer to this.
Oh, I know the English connotation on that too. So I was just thinking, like, since we speak the correct King's language over here, I think the answer is yes. I have shagged ball.
So, Pro, the interesting thing is this came up. I thought I was speaking Ben's language. I knew about the other meaning, but I actually thought that the meaning, as in shagging balls or whatever, I thought that was kind of British. And turns out they've never heard of it.
Well, you might get it confused. Like our mispronunciation of slag as slag, maybe slagging a ball, like maybe bollock wonking slag, like maybe that's what's happening there.
I think I've mentioned in this room before, maybe, that 30 years ago I heard some redneck American who hears some people in the street talking Spanish, probably talking Spanish, and he hates them, and he goes, "Oi, speak English. English is good enough for our."
Oi. Each started with oi. That was great. That's right.
What I notice is a lot of these atheist rooms, they get together, they think they are talking philosophy, but they're just goon maxing on another level.
What's that?
You don't want to know, John, what reading is, but Rabbi will tell you because he sounds like
They're goon maxing. Otherwise, if they were physically together, they would be freak maxing.
gooning is what Ed would say is wanking.
Oh.
See, it's like walking in.
I've had an interesting evolution. I was an angry atheist, probably top of the heap, kind of in the wake or in the run up to the Iraq War, where I saw Christians wanting to end the world by blowing up the Middle East and all this kind of stuff. And I gradually realized that it had nothing to do with atheism. It was, I think some people call it, anti-theism. The actual thing that I revile is organized religion, not belief in God. I don't have any trouble with somebody believing in God. I just have a problem when they start saying this religion has nailed all these other things like talking to snakes and resurrections and just things that are just, if somebody makes you believe that, they can make you do anything.
I never think of like a topic like this one or anything until John brought up sort of like the atheist opera. Like I never think of like an opera as atheist or not. I never think of things like certainty is irrational as atheist or not. I get why you think that, because it could lead right to like certainty in God. That's where people's mind goes. I know, but and that's valid too, because that's a ridiculous certainty as well. But I never think of the topics when they're not explicitly about religion as being religion-based topics.
No, I don't.
Maybe that's because
I only brought up the opera to like try to frame um, entertainment and content, meaning that children or adults want entertainment. That's why I say going to an opera where you have these Olympian gods singing with staffs is like going to the Avengers movie, and that's going to get a 10 out of 10 versus the 0 out of 10 for these atheist rooms with Steve Appel and JCC putting people down.
So you're saying that the atheist group's boring?
Yes, extremely boring. But what I think that they think that they're doing is that the negation of God is like a Zen thing where it brings them into like a harmony kind of like frequency state of mind where they have a little bit of peace in their security bubble. And so what we're really doing is observing human behavior and the games we play with each other through language.
So, John, are you a Christian?
That's not a bad take, John.
Well, it doesn't matter if I'm a flying pizza spaghetti monster, as Dawkins puts it. I like books and I like information and I like knowledge. And unfortunately, the atheists here who complain about the philosophy bros are the laziest fucking people you will ever meet. They don't read anything. Just over the past few days, I've read multiple books and I've thoroughly enjoyed the experience. John, what are you? I mean, you don't like organized religion. Oh, we got Steve Apple here from this famous Steve Apple show.
I was going to tell
We got
you
the
off
famous
your
Steve
house
Apple
that
show.
I came up with a different thing. You know how we have all these simps on this app? I like it when I go to these different rooms, they'll get together and you call it a symphony.
I got it. I got your platform now, Rabbi. I just needed you to say simp so that I could put it in position where it is now. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
No, it's not the opera, it's the symphony.
You gotcha. Hey, what's up, Steve Apple? What's going on?
Hey, had a couple of great shows on the weekend. Rabbi was there. He contributed to the show being even better. Rabbi, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, was it this, Rabbi?
Yes. I wasn't there much. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. The answer's yes.
Hey, this is crazy. I just saw a guy come in the room with a name that just reminded me of. So I have a student. His name is Brian. Right? I go out of my house. Now, I teach 7 miles away from my house, 6 miles away, right? I go out of my house with my son. I was just talking about my class, and I was just correcting some stuff. And as I walk outside, this dude goes, "Hey, I know you." And he was like a delivery driver, and it's my student in my class. Pulled it into my random little townhouse place. He was delivering DoorDash. I was thinking the probability of that is pretty slim. Nowhere near the Messi probability with playing against the baby he watched in the finals. But anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there. Just thought that was pretty cool. So what's up, Brian?
See, I just want to say that.
Cool, but it's, I've done see that.
It's not great.
That unlikely.
See,
I saw some reports that were trying to say it's 1 in 58 million right, of the probability that Messi would be in the game, the final game. I was like, it seems like a stretch. I would like to look at that. Let's see what's the set of these interesting numbers they throw into this calculation. That's pretty fun.
Listening to an audiobook and then discussing the complicated parts of the content, that's one way to have a conversation. Another way is to just have never-ending atheist shows that you call it's a show, but it's really just it's boring people, lonely people doing nothing, and I just got to say it's boring. If you have 5 minutes on a stage, if you do vaudeville and you come to Clown House to do your vaudeville show and it's a conference call, well, if you don't even have a performance, you're boring and you're lazy and you're a bad performer. Hello?
Steve, I'm not sure, but that might be towards you.
Of course it's towards me, bro. Who else would it be towards?
I thought he was talking about my bites of physics.
I mean, a lot of rooms are boring. I know I've contributed to the boring level of a lot of rooms. I like boring. Like I don't have a problem with boring when I'm in a I want to be bored mood.
Well, John broadcasts boring, right?
John, you have a platform that can sometimes be pretty boring, but it's all subjective. But I mean, to your point about the Avengers, like I'll be the first one in line to see Spider-Man and Doctor Doom or whatever. I don't find that stuff boring, and I think that's what you were saying too. Like that stuff wins hands down, but it doesn't always win. Like because I like Marvel, it doesn't mean that I don't want to read an academic paper over Marvel, right? Like if I knew a brand new Marvel movie was coming out and there was a brand new academic paper, yeah, I'd probably watch the Marvel movie first because I don't want to hear about it, right? But my excitement to watch some sci-fi or whatever, that's just a fleeting kind of thing. I'd actually rather deal with what's kind of more going on in the real world. You know, like if I had to like budget my time, it'd probably be, 85% stuff in the real world and 15% like fantasy and la la world. You know what I mean?
I get it, but see, the thing about religion is when John says he hates organized religion, that's a put down to people who otherwise might need books to improve their lives. When the atheists on here put down the theists, they're failing to recognize the importance of personal development. It's almost like they've never even done it themselves. Like they've never sat through a 4-year college and an undergrad and read books and wrote papers for years. I'm just saying that the ego, the narcissism of some of the atheists on this app that do their little shows with their mod squad. Meanwhile, they call it a show, but it's not even on YouTube. I'm just saying people really have a desire to waste their time and other people's time in ineffective ways. Communication is useful for development of the self. And so when people put down philosophy bros, well, you've never even read a philosophy book. Let's at least talk about one philosophy book. Maybe we could talk about Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. I'm surrounded by thousands of books. I'm just saying the atheists on this app are bored and lonely. That's my opinion.
Well, that's where John is dead wrong when he says that we, you, me are not even on YouTube because we've got him putting the shows on YouTube.
Oh, got you there.
Like we're not wasting our time now.
We've got somebody doing it for us. That's how unboring we are.
And not paying him a single red cent, completely doing it for free.
When he talked about not doing self-development, I thought he was going to go on to talk about like Tony Robbins seminars and the like, not just books, because there's a huge difference, right, between reading books like any intellectual self-development and then the emotional, physical, embodied self-development. Just want to throw that out there. So I was kind of surprised when he mentioned books rather than like seminars, or almost like, Tony Robbins' seminar is almost like going to a church event, but without the organised
Analogous, yes.
Yeah, maybe. But those things are the things for me that have made the shift. I'm not reading fucking books. Reading books I love doing on a particular topic, and I read the geekiest books you can imagine. John will attest. I crossed into his lap the other day, and the book. But the actual shifts that happen at things like T. Harv Eker or Tony Robbins events, for me,
And normally there has to be like a handshake or an agreement or some type of consideration to make somebody an indentured servant or a slave. But here we have him doing it completely for free with no expectation of any remuneration. It's fucking beautiful.
I'm still slightly aghast that I'm able to speak to you this clearly while flying at 546 miles an hour over the ground.
Ben, there's a line of sight thing going on that you just can't beat being in a plane for.
Yeah, it might have a little something to do with starving.
Well, I suspect so too. I was going to ask, do you know planes do talk to Starlink?
This is definitely Starlink. Yeah, it's a Starlink. Yes. 200 meg down and about 40 levels back off.
Well, let me ask you one more a question before I probably get kicked by Steve Apple or Ben or somebody else. A lot of the books that I read, it talks about the divine will, the cosmic will, the universal will, which is like saying willpower. And I'm just wondering, do you think that this will has in some way played a role in your lives?
I'll tell you this much: since we're in Pro's house, if you get kicked, it ain't gonna be by me.
I don't think I understood the question. Did anybody else? Maybe you can.
I missed it.
I think it was about that will. I think it was about that will I am dude in his power song. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Hello?
Hey, John. Progressive John. It's always fun to find Progressive John. That's what I think Progressive. I know I'm not alone when I think John. Anyway, I don't think anybody clarified. Well, I don't think anybody clarified with
I'm actually progressive. I'm a progressive liberal. And what's ironic is I'm actually more progressive than any of the supposed progressives or the pluralist liberal Democrats, because they don't even understand that we can separate state and economy. But the Democrats will never ever shut down the Federal Reserve or the unlimited borrowing and spending facility that we have. So I'm actually more progressive than the supposed social ideological progressives on this app. I'm willing to go all the way and have a real economy.
Just like I'm more conservative than most Republicans.
I mean, I'm trying to be a little dynamic, and funny, but I think what I'm saying actually is kind of truthful in the critique of the progressive liberal Democrats, because ultimately we're going to have to come to terms of agreement on what the economy is. And to me, a pizza shop at a profit, it costs you 50 cents to make the slice, you sell it for $2.50. If we don't have that as the basis of our economy, we have a Zimbabwe hyperinflation type of situation. And already we're paying 1.2 trillion a year in national interest expenses just at the federal level, and then all the states are engaged in the same type of borrowing and spending. So the baby boomers and the greatest generation have depleted the treasury, tenfold over. I'm just saying that if you want to be truly progressive, you have to have an honest and transparent and accurate critique of the economy.
It's so funny that you focus on that, because that's exactly why I say I'm more conservative than most Republicans.
I say there are no conservative.
Is that we shouldn't have the kind of national debt we have. And I became, Ronald Reagan was the guy who set my pants on fire. No, my hair on fire over that. And it's only been worse since. I don't know, John. I mean, I say this all the time. I don't know if you're aware of the fact that every single Republican administration over the last half century, the annual deficit has been more than the one inherited by that president. While
It's hard
every
to pay off
single
national debt when you ship all the jobs to China.
Hold on. While every single year of every single Democratic administration, the deficit has been less than the one that was inherited. If we had had that kind of, and we did, if we just stopped with Clinton, right? But if we had just had that kind of thing for 50 years, we'd have a surplus of God knows how many trillions of dollars. Of course, you wouldn't do that because you'd spend that money elsewhere. It's a good idea to run a 2 or 3% deficit. That's what we did after World War II. Ronald Reagan opened the floodgates, and we are where we are exclusively because of the Republican Party.
Bro, did you say there are conservative Republicans? Is that what you said?
No, I said exactly the same thing that John just said yesterday in a room multiple times. And my point was that there are no conservative policies anymore. They've been hijacked, or they've actually been encompassed by a lot of progressive policies, ironically. Anything that would have served to be something outside of, let's say, religion, but is a conservative talking point, is like gone in a poof. I suppose the closest thing you can say is trying to lower taxes. But I don't think progressives are against lowering taxes for some people and in some situations, right? It's just that you're trying to raise them for people that never pay them, right?
Yeah, and my hero is Jerry Brown, because he came into California. He said, here's a bunch of stuff I want to do, but we're only going to do it if you vote to raise taxes to pay for it.
Well, see, that's the problem. I don't know why he's a hero to you. That's big government, big spending. There are conservative principles in action today. You're witnessing them. The forcible removal of illegal alien residents that are breaking our laws. That's very conservative and very heart-wrenching and hard to watch. And I don't personally like seeing a father of 3 who's busting his ass be forcibly detained, removed, or even killed. So, I mean, I've seen a new HR bill that was being floated, and it's about amnesty. I've often thought that blanket amnesty, as well, it's on X. I can get you the link. It's also, securing the border and starting over and saying, okay, you're here. Well, guess what? You can have citizenship, but you're going to have to pay for it, and you're going to have to prove your loyalty, some type of litmus test, because this forcible removal it's tearing the country apart emotionally, ethically, moralistically. It's a very difficult thing to do. But also on the flip side of that, when people criticize law enforcement to a very high degree and even call for death threats, now we got a beef. Now we got a problem, because I'm going to side with the law enforcement, because that's a very difficult job to do, physically demanding. Your life is at risk. So to poo-poo a law enforcement officer doing a very difficult and dangerous job on behalf of our government, on behalf of his own duty and his own work.
It's easy not to kill people, though, especially ones that aren't armed or posing a threat, even if they are armed. I don't think that's the difficult part of their job. But I do agree with you. But I think the difference is a conservative policy is not saying we are going to tighten the borders. That is a modern phenomenon. Everybody, if you go back to, let's say, the framers of the Constitution, whatever you want to do, they all recognize, I mean, we built the country on immigration, right? It's just that it's been hijacked by xenophobia. And the brand that you're talking about of conservatism is like xenophobia, racism, those kind of things, find a scapegoat, right? That wasn't, I mean, we've always had a buffer to fix our economy based on, David Zero Sanchez, like, we've always used immigration policy as a way to improve the economy, right? So it's like, that doesn't seem, if conservatives are the fiscally responsible people, it doesn't seem that the choice that you would use is something that actually hurts our GDP, which would be, to have too tight borders. Of course, you have to have some border control, but in the spirit of the Constitution, that would be what a conservative would be for. They would be for immigration.
In fact, our story from colonial era, it was always about expanding borders. So growing through cultural exchange, if not in an awful way, appropriation. But look at the outcome. If you're going to talk about one of the most culturally diverse countries in the world, it's America. Not because we're a country run by white men, because of the hard work of other people. So scapegoating. Are we just moving to the worst impulses because we want to be fans of Elon?
The issue is, I think there's a great point. There's, the Laffer curve. There's such a thing as too much taxation.
That's not a real thing.
there's such a thing as too much immigration. There's such a
This is
thing.
how you get Reaganomics. I don't buy it. It's been bullshit. It's been bullshit. It's been bullshit and debunked. It's been bullshit and debunked for decades. Don't pull that shit in here, please.
So
No laugh for curve.
taxation. So
Labor markets. Look at labor markets. Talk labor markets if you're talking immigration. If you want to talk about anything intelligent, talk labor markets and tell me.
Okay, so to answer this question then, if it's so debunked, and
Look at the CEOs of these tech companies. Are they American born? Are they American born?
Why not tax at 100%? If more taxation is better, then why
That's
not?
ridiculous. 100%. That's just ridiculous.
Exactly.
Because what you're saying is ridiculous and it's not anything anybody contended. Nobody said 100% tax. It's just ridiculous.
Oxygen is good. Why not breathe
Taxation can hurt economic growth, can hurt capital investment, can hurt
They
savings.
all have oxygen tanks on all day long. And actually, since nitrogen is good, all
So
have
to say that the Laffer curve has been debunked, flies in the face of reality.
Conservative economics, where it trickles down economics has created the inequality. Our inequality is worse than the Gilded Age. Why won't you comment on that? The economic inequality. Do you think it's a good thing?
I'm saying.
Why are you non sequitur after non sequitur? Can you talk about inequality? I'm talking about inequality.
Point of order, moderators. David is over-speaking Brian here, and now I'm over-speaking Brian. David, you're just over-talking Brian here, sir. I'm a progressive liberal, David, and now you're over-speaking me. Moderators, do your job. Do your job, moderators. It's your karma. Work is karma. Karma is work.
That's what you wanted to say. Work is karma. Karma is work.
Why are we seeing the Laffer curve be validated in all these cities and states where they're taxing people who are fleeing? There's mass exodus from these places that have increased taxation, and people are voting with their feet. Their businesses are leaving, the individuals are leaving, jobs are leaving.
Have you moved in the last 3 years out of a tax jurisdiction to a non-tax jurisdiction? Are you just speaking in the abstract?
I'm speaking of the data.
Okay, so you're speaking about other people. You didn't move. It didn't compel you. It didn't compel you. You said a mass exodus. Mass sounds like a large amount.
Location to a lower tax location. Yes.
What were the geographies?
One was the place that I was located was a large metropolitan area in the south, and I moved and built a house, bought some land in a low tax, more rural area.
Did you change states?
No, it was the same state.
Okay, so you did tax arbitrage within your own state.
But the point
for your own purposes
holds that people are fleeing these high tax locations.
People, just say you are. Just put your projection out there and label it your own. Thanks.
Well, I did as well, but I'm saying there.
I heard your projection. Good job.
Are you denying that it's happening?
See, tax strategy is a certainty, and it's not irrational. If you lived in New York or California and you fled to Miami and you built $1 billion tower like Ken Griffin, well, that's a certainty, not an uncertainty.
Let's talk about the illiquidity because of
Tax Strategies from Tax Strategy Advisors LLC is here to help you achieve ultimate premium tax strategic solutions. Are you sick of paying taxes? Well, we've got a package for you. It's $39,995 a month, and we can help you completely eliminate taxes. Because certainty is irrational. Change my mind. Why would I want to pay more taxes?
Yeah, it's pretty well known. Save money, do
pretty well known. Right. This is a NIMBY. It's pretty normal that everybody else deal with their own problems. I dealt with
prioritizing, leaving these high tax, job-killing policies and locations, then save your money, do without some things, vacations or new cars or things like that, then move when you have enough money.
So your answer is whack the finger.
You like
policy.
You like Dave Ramsey.
Good policy.
You like Dave Ramsey, right, Brian? I like using really follow him. I know of him. I don't know that I could give an educated opinion on him.
I mean, his whole thing is about debt, right, and how not to be in debt. His whole thing is, just eat rice and beans for 4 years. You'll never have debt. You'll be perfectly fine, right? But it's like, real life happens sometimes when you're eating rice and beans. Like, in real life. When you have to decide whether you're going to eat or go to the doctor or get your car fixed or fix the leak in your house.
Well, fixing the leak
That's
in the
not
house,
function. That's not function of just
that's a high priority. Caleb, from a Jewish perspective, what does the Torah tell us about priorities of spending?
We don't have time. We don't have time for your silliness this morning.
It's not silliness. I mean, the Torah has a lot of information in it, and I think you're smart enough to quickly give us a ChatGPT type summary response to that query of what
money is a tool. Wealth is a tool, right, to sustain a society and to sustain oneself. There has to be a balance between those two things.
Well, wait a minute, John. You're smart enough to give us a ChatGPT answer as well. What's the problem? Why don't you do it?
Well, the Torah deals with the law, and the law of capitalism is.
Why would I be willing to bet $1,000 you're not reading from ChatGPT right now?
I thought you were complimenting me in the same way that I was complimenting Caleb. I don't use ChatGPT, faggot, retard, faggot.
Why are you asking someone else to use it if you don't use it yourself?
I wasn't asking Caleb to use it. I was saying that he's smart enough.
Actually, that's exactly what you asked.
No. Caleb, did I ask you to give me a ChatGPT, or did I compliment you and say you're smart enough to give me a summary type response as if you were ChatGPT? Steve, you're not only blind.
I heard the second thing, but nevertheless,
we're
having a side conversation without the mental manipulation of
continue your side. Go ahead, continue.
No. I was talking to Brian, and John here wants to talk about mental hypnotic communication. So
I was asking you about Torah. I love Torah. I love it. I love the information in the Torah. See, when atheists waste all their time here putting people down all day long, they skip over the Torah, which is a lot of information. And Steve is a Jew, though an atheist. He's a Jew, which means he's a Zionist. And the truth is, Steve is blind and he's going deaf. Hello?
I thought we were headed towards talking about inequality and taxation.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought we were talking about.
So, I mean, I know there's a big push for economic equality or equal outcomes. The whole derision of economic inequality, and I see where in some economists' minds it matters, but I think in the market that we have today with global access to shipping and product movement and all the interconnections that we have from continent to continent, it's less of an issue. So if a company can go international through the internet or through shipping or continent to continent, that's, I think, the explanation that the rich are getting richer at maybe a faster rate than the lower class is getting wealthier, because people at the high end now have access to China, to India, to Europe, to Asia, to South America, whereas
why can't the rest of us have access if it's really like a flat open environment? Why can't there? You're only underlining the inequality point. You're just saying inequality is okay.
I am saying inequality is okay, and I'm explaining why it's okay, because you have people who are more companies are easily able to access new markets that weren't available 20, 30, 40 years ago. So, of course, those companies that have been able to leverage, take advantage of those new opportunities.
What about the single parent who's struggling between feeding her kid and fixing her car?
Well, that's a whole different situation.
Well, that's what we're talking about. We're about the differences between small businesses and corporations. And what we're talking about is the inequality, the non-equity of the system that you're describing right now, right? Which just says, some people have different access, and that's okay. And that's okay.
Actually, it's better for all of us because we all benefit.
I don't benefit from it. I don't benefit from it.
See,
You benefit from Amazon, you benefit from Tesla, you benefit from Apple. But these companies that are increasing their access to markets, they're able to do more research and development. They're able to do more product development. They're able to include more features.
That doesn't impact
their costs.
That doesn't impact whether. Excuse me, Brian. Brian, excuse me. Does what Apple does? I know you're not. Does what Apple does enable me?
They sell their products and use that profit with newer markets to add features, lower costs. They pass that savings on to everyone in the
right. And does that make it easier? Does that make it easier? Does that make it easier? Does that make it easier for me to buy Apple stock? No, it sure does not.
That makes it.
No, it sure does not. No, it sure does not.
Makes it moral.
What's moral about it?
Because we're using the notion of free will for people to choose what's best for them. If they want Apple, if they want Samsung, if they want Tesla, if they want Ford, you now have more opportunities. There
is more.
There is everyone who operates.
The moral landscape of the economic sphere is not only in regard to the success of the individual. That is selfish. That is capitalism run amok.
but Caleb, Caleb, America.
If you think that that's the way that this is supposed to work, to run, to manage a just society in which everyone can have their own thriving, right? And you think it's just about who can make the most money fastest because I have the most access. That's immoral. That's the immoral part. Making money is not moral or immoral. It's a tool. You're a tool. You're a tool.
I'm saying that
you're a tool.
Well, it takes a tool to know a tool.
The entirety of your system, I fear for your economy.
Are you projecting that you're a tool as well? Aren't we all just tools of the Lord?
That's the only principle that no, it isn't. America became the most successful and prosperous on the backs of slaves. That's why.
Oh, here we go. He's practicing mindfulness.
It had nothing to do with individual choice and this whole prosperity gospel nonsense. What percentage?
All right, so we're going to need one mic at a time, otherwise, Nick.
Excellent. I just want to read a quick quote. It's in the words of the famous paradox of the Comte de Phoenix. The absolute rule of the state shall be a function of the absolute liberty of each individual will.
Caleb, what percentage of Americans owned slaves in 1860 before the start of the Civil War? What percentage? If slaves were so prominent, in the building of our country,
instead of the way that David grew up. Like we know that slavery was concentrated to a bunch of slave owners. That's like saying if cell phones were so popular, how come there's only like 4 fucking companies that make cell phones? Bro, it's a stupid
well, then how could he say that slavery is the backbone
because,
of source of our economic growth when only like 2% of Americans own slaves?
That's the metaphor, bro.
Only about 2% of Americans own slaves.
It's not a valid statistic. It doesn't.
Well, it's not a valid claim.
No, it's not a valid point that you're making because it's just
not
a handful of people own all the slaves, bro.
Slavery is the reason for our success.
No,
if
it
that
is
was the reason for our success.
Yes, bro. It doesn't. You don't need a bunch of people owning it. Do you think right now there's a bunch of companies that are walking into the freaking, cell phone development space?
Slavery?
No, it's Samsung and fucking iPhones. Grow up.
I can defeat that in one sentence. If slavery was the source of success for a country's economic growth, then why do we have thousands of years around the world of slavery, but only in America during the Industrial Revolution and subsequently did we rise to economic top tier? If slavery is so prevalent around the world, then
it's amazing how you shifted the argument to one that I wasn't making. It's amazing that you shifted the argument when I wasn't making. My point is that slavery was popular. Bro, if you keep talking over me, you're gonna get fucking thrown out the room. So shut the fuck up, you bitch. Listen, I said something very simple, and you've been talking over everybody. You have the fucking balls to tell someone to stop interrupting. Shut the fuck up, you little penis. Now listen, if you want to stay in the fucking room, talk like an adult, so we don't have to fucking talk to you like a child. The point is that when people run a company or a business or an industry, they don't want to let in other competitors. And when they have sufficient ability to do so, they will block them. That is not an argument for why it is not prosperous for people to do it, because there isn't a billion people owning slaves. The people who were owning slaves were running the fucking show, and everybody else was a PR. That's why.
If slavery was the source of America's success, then other countries who had slaves would have also been successful.
That's a specious argument. That's a very specious argument. There's a lot more information we need.
Abandoning the argument we made. We were talking about other countries.
Yeah, and other countries didn't have a whole sort of empty continent, so-called empty continent to expand into. I mean, it's a completely different situation.
But don't worry, guys. The South will rise again.
See, we're all going to have to agree on how to run a pizza shop, which is at a profit. That means you sell the slice for more than it cost you to make. That's the basis of reality. If we can't agree on basic economic principles and you let progressive liberals steal from pensions and call it investment and borrow more from the banks and call it investment, Jamie Dimon will cut the spigot. The Federal Reserve won't be so friendly at their press conferences. They will come out and say, we don't believe that Congress's spending plan is in the best interest of America. Eventually, we're going to get to that threshold. But at the moment, Zimbabwe inflation, we don't have $100 trillion notes yet. So our burn is actually a lot slower than what we probably think it is. And if we live in both states, which is the binary, not the non-binary, if we believe in socialism and community investment, but we also believe in capitalism and development and for-profit, we're going to have to live in both states, apparently. But I would just say it's possible that some people see, if life is just a bell-shaped curve and you want to tax the right side and inflate the left side in the middle, you're going to have conflict and friction. And our system is arranged to protect that right wing of the bell-shaped curve, which is low taxation, and they get to keep the hundreds of billions or trillions. But it's a global economy, meaning that when we think about just taxing Americans, Europeans as well have profited so much from American industry and American financial capital, especially defense manufacturers. Because when you look at the org charts, it's not just American corps, it's the global corps that are feasting at the trough of America. I am complete. Hello?
Good. You are very complete. It's not an economy for everybody. It's not an economy that works for everybody. That's the point. We need an economy that works for everybody. Describe an economy that works for everybody. Where everybody can have one job, where the normal, right? The baseline is you can have a job, you can get health insurance, you can make a living, and have a family.
That's our system now.
No, it is not.
It's led us to the greatest prosperity in the history of the world.
Oh, fuck you, you Republicans. Fucking fundamentalism. Go look at the homelessness crisis in this country. Go look at the homelessness crisis in this country. Go look at affordability. Go look at people trying to. No, you're not. Listen. Go look at this. Go look at people struggling.
Just look at it. Go look at it. Just look at it. Would you look at it? Look at it. Just look at it. Look at that. Look at that. Just look at that. Look at it. Look at it. Just look at it. Look at it.
Fucking rid of this guy, John. You think because the stock market are at record numbers that means that's prosperity for everybody? What a fucking joke. Prosperity for some, not for all. Don't we want people to be able to live lives of value and thrive? Don't we want that? This
Like
is
Cuba or the Soviet Union, for example.
No, I didn't say any other countries.
So describe a system.
Hey Brian! Quit with your Red Scare, anti-communist, anti-socialist nonsense. Hey Brian, I was talking. If you can't hold your tongue, maybe this isn't the room for you.
You interrupted the other guy, right?
Just look at it. Just look at it. Look at it.
Now, Brian, if you're going to be ready to be done with your Red Scare, anti-communist, anti-socialist bullshit, and if you're going to be ready to ignore the crony socialism that exists amongst the people that you think are so great at making this country prosperous, the fucking trickle-down hasn't worked. Oh, industry creates jobs and prosperity. Yeah, right. Fuck off. No, it doesn't.
Is the Soviet Union a better example of a system you would?
Soviet Union doesn't even exist.
Excuse me, Brian. You're the only one who has mentioned other countries. Not me.
I'm asking you to name a system.
No, this is your tactic, Brian. This is your tactic to avoid.
Just name a country.
Hey, Brian, quit being such a dick and listen to what you're doing. You're switching the conversation. What Brian is doing is, hey, I don't want to answer Caleb's question. I'm not even asking a question. I don't want to respond to anything Caleb says, but what I am going to do is I'm going to say Russia and Soviet Union and Cuba to scare you. Because those are scary words. Socialist words, communist words,
See, this is real vaudeville, Steve. See the variety show that Pro is able to put together, Steve. Take note on production value and the guests, Steve. You're gonna have to get guys like Caleb who are a little more theatrical, can provide better content for your show, Uncle Steve. Hello?
It happened in these socialist countries. Did that not happen in your world?
When did I say socialism was better?
Well, name a country. Name a country that's better than America.
See, Norway's actually better than America because they took their 300 billion and turned it into 3 trillion by investing in the stock market. If America would have just taken the 100 trillion and put it in the stock market, we'd have, 100 trillion.
He just wants to play finance. So it's like, let's look at a country that doesn't actually have a net negative like us. Let's just look them up. Like
Scandinavia is a capitalist country.
Yeah, that's cool.
And the Middle East countries.
Is your thing that you just have a hard on for capitalism?
China.
No, it is. If you just have a hard on for capitalism, just say so. That's cool. There's a lot of.
I love laissez-faire capitalism. I would love to go open a pizza restaurant with absolutely no intervention by the state. I don't want the state knocking on my pizza store saying, "Hey, come in. We got to check for cockroaches and rat droppings." No, stay out. I don't want you looking at my kitchen. Leave me alone. And I don't want to fill out all that paperwork every year. And when I go to the airport, I don't want to have my shoes taken off and my bags x-rayed and my balls touched and my fingers swabbed and my facial recognition ID photograph. I'm good, guys. Hello?
It just kind of depends on who you want. Like I heard somebody saying, I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson the other day. He was talking about this area where people live.
I don't even think my mic works.
Deer getting in the middle of the road and people were dying, big accidents, insurance premiums, all that kind of stuff. And then one of the actual proposals was to release more natural predators of the deer into the environment. So small mountain cats, right, were brought in to actually alleviate the problem. Now, the debate was, do you want the government to have to claim responsibility? And the government did not want that. In other words, if there is a government issue that we brought in the cats, now the government is liable versus nature being liable if it's just, the deer just killed off some people. Because, of course, a cougar is going to kill little Bobby in the backyard every now and then. And so it just depends where you want your death. But when they did the math, there was less death when you brought in the predator cat. Like, in other words, an acceptable amount of babies would die, right? Because it was way lower than the amount of people that would actually die. you're on the highway. And a lot of this is just what you like better, right? And if a system can protect itself through legality, which is the part, Brian, that you're missing, which, I mean, maybe you're aware of it, but it's like when you just say, survival of the fittest, it's kind of what they're arguing. Hey, you get big, and you reap the rewards and spoils. And it just sucks to be everybody else who's not as fit. So fuck them, right? If your real plan is fuck them, just say it, right? But most of us are a little bit more humane. Okay, that's cool, but you've been leaning in towards that, right? And that's why we've been saying you sound like a dick. Because you're just doing this absolutist kind of thing.
See, Brian, don't worry. I'm not with Pro here. He's doing his put down thing on you, Brian. And, I think you've been over talked. You have a very nice, subtle voice, and you've said nothing controversial. And I don't know why people are so gaslit by you, Brian. I feel bad that so many people are triggered by, your very soft, subtle, and intelligent words. And, Brian, I'm not with these people. They can speak for themselves. And God bless you, Brian. And I hope today is the best day of your life. Don't let these put down people make you feel like you're below them. Don't put them on a pedestal ever. They don't deserve your respect, Brian. And I'm glad you're here to show them all in the mirror of reflection that their projection is that they themselves are very angry and hyper performative and dramatic people.
I want to help you out, Progressive. I want to take a moment to center the room towards you because Progressive feels a certain way. And maybe it's because they have a change of name to Progressive, which goes against its inner values system. But I think that's fine. I think that's fair. I think it's fair to say that, you've been too hard on someone that you align with for a moment. Do you actually think the people in the room are just irrational, and just like to scream on people for no reason?
Yeah, I do.
Maybe there's some fault on both sides. Maybe we're both at fault, right? Maybe because we're too assuming, maybe we haven't given Brian space. But my point is, Brian, we haven't given you a space because once you started talking, you didn't allow any air to come up and you just were rattling on like a lot of people do about propaganda speech. So if that's not the case, why don't you share?
Yeah, we were going back and forth. I was going back and forth with Caleb and with you to some degree, and I just asked some simple questions. If there is a system that is better, describe it and give me an example of where that system you're proposing has worked or something as close to it as possible so that we can compare and contrast.
So my question was back then because there were a few things layered on top of that, right? Originally, you were doing the thing. You were actually giving, this is where the resentment comes from. You sounded like you were giving cover for slave owners. That's how it comes across, right? But you weren't acknowledging Ayla's point that we were built on the back of slavery. Now, that is a question for you just to say yes or no, or maybe it's some shade of gray. Do you not think we were built on the back of slavery?
I do not.
Okay. And why slavery do you not think that we were built on the back of slavery? Okay, good. That's a nice perspective. Why do you think we weren't built on the back of slavery?
Because the more industrious, prosperous portions of our economy were in the north. The South was predominantly,
that's right.
The location for a lot of the plantations for slavery. Those were limited to labor industries like cotton.
That's also correct.
Farming, right? So if slavery was the linchpin, the foundation, right, for our prosperity, then it seems that other countries that also
I'm not sure why you're leaving go to other countries.
Yeah, why are you going to other countries?
By the way, the point about the United States.
Because the North still had plenty of slaves during that same period. New Jersey was one of the last states to free its slaves in the 1871. So don't give me this nonsense revisionist history of the North was free and was and emancipationist while the South wasn't. That is bullshit.
Let me make my claim and then you can refute it.
All right. Yeah, in America.
Okay. So if slavery was the linchpin or the foundation for our success, why did it not lead to the South being the more prominent region, location, or set of industries in America?
I see what you think. Okay, so I'm from Lowell, Massachusetts. And if you want to just Google Lowell, Massachusetts, right, it is a national park. It's a national park because of the obscene profits that Lowell, Massachusetts made in the textile industry off the back of hydroelectric power, which is large France, Cabot Lowell, who went in and basically memorized how the mills were working in England, right? So he stole that technology, came here and said, because we have this profitable industry of slavery, picking cotton to manufacture textiles, we will become the dominant player, which is what we did. It was the engine of how slavery was. So even I criticize sometimes Lowell because they get all up in their feelings about how wonderful they were, but they directly benefited from slavery. And you can do the sort of illusionist act that you might be doing. You might not be aware, but that's where the profit comes from, bro, in the Northeast. It was places running off textile mills as the large economic expansion that made use of the cotton. So yes, if you're saying that the peons in the system were just, somebody who had a garden variety amount of 10 slaves down in the South, or somebody that owned a couple farms, yeah, I agree. Compared to the wealthy owners of industry in the Northeast, where there was also
women pregnant. And then but aside from that, but the Africans will come in and have 8 kids with these Chinese women, which the Chinese men are so cocked that they won't. Aside from that, about the Japanese experience.
Azra, some people say you can't learn anything on this app, but Azra,
Finishes is a unique perspective.
Azra is spitting facts.
Who's talking in the background?
Azra is spitting facts.
So people don't understand. The Chinese economy is mostly tied to its housing market. And people really look at the outside perspective, but they're not looking at the microeconomics. Whereas 70% of China's economy is based on its housing. And have you ever heard of Evergrande? Evergrande is a corporation that has been around since the 90s. And their entire game is based on you buy a house before it's built. So basically, on paper, you would say, okay, I'm going to buy this apartment building. It's going to be completed.
That's called an investment, D.
Then the building falls every day. So let me land. So I'm going to get to the point because you can look at it. Hold on. That's on the building.
Come on, guys, let him land.
I'm not a
It's like 5 times in order to avoid the population from being able to mark their cars and have the system where they follow them around. In order to prevent that, they were just renting cars from rental places.
Yeah, in that particular video with that.
Still going to say that America is the wealthiest nation. It begs the question I think Steve is asking. It's like, not just wealthy, what metric are you using that we're the best, we're the mightiest, we're the greatest, and all that kind of stuff? I think we have to acknowledge that we are in a deficit, and we can rattle off, just as many countries as Steve did.
And Hamas was this building playgrounds and schools thing, and where it was funded, but then they quickly figured out that no, they really were not that, they had ulterior motives, and then it became real motives.
I take Gore. I have a feeling.
Damn, one of them got me blocked, Dennis.
Brilliant and liberal, and very, very. Haviv take Gore.
I don't.
Oh, you must listen to him. If you guys don't, you have to start immediately. He is.
I didn't hear what he said. Anyone?
No, he said he is.
Okay, just enough of a sneak sound.
With that,
We didn't hear you.
He is.
You went out. You said he is.
Oh, because there's parts of the mansion where my signal just died. I said he's very, very, very.
Mansion.
Wow. Shit.
I may be understating it just a little, but he's part of the. He's extremely Zionist and extremely liberal and very, very, very insightful, and he has great stuff on the way that the Algerian blend of Marxism and Islam was conveyed to both the Islamic Revolutionary Genocide Corps and to Hamas. It's this weird revolutionary victimology that has this weird appeal to Western ears because, again, it's all about the pedagogy of the oppressed, and it's based on Franz Fanon, the guy who wrote The Wretched of the Earth. It's fascinating, and it fits really neatly into Western college curricula.
Isn't oppression liberation a very popular motif?
That's a book by Paulo Freire.
I gotta look it up.
It's fascinating. That's what I did my one of my theses in college on.
Is that technically liberation theology?
Check it out.
Yeah, God,
I know about it.
Is that great John Kitover?
I do know that because it inspired a lot of liberation theology.
Yeah, I was going to say intellectual liberation theology.
By the way, so Andy Burnham here makes his first speech as the Prime Minister of the UK. Going back 40 years, he's taking swipes at Margaret Thatcher. What an interesting. So I mean, it'd be like if someone here, like if you had someone here become Speaker of the House and they just went after Ronald Reagan. I mean, that's an interesting move.
Well, is he of the same party as Thatcher, or was
he's saying basically that Thatcherism was the dismantling of the UK, the privatization. That Thatcherism was the beginning of the end of the UK. That was a good place to live. So he's saying we're going to turn back the clock. We're going to undo Thatcherism.
Well, God save the king.
Yeah. He basically looks at Thatcher as the sort of, what I mean by Thatcherism. I think he's not talking anti-communism. He's talking Reaganism, right? He's talking privatization. Not that she was probably as effective as Reagan on this score, but
wait, this guy is also labor.
He's labor. Yeah, he's labor. Boy. He's labor. He just replaced.
Sir Keir Starmer.
Yeah, Sir Starmer. I heard that guy was like the most boring person on earth.
Well, is Tommy Robinson being appointed Prime Minister?
Those two more couldn't make it through this speech. That is the great
Shuki.
Hey, Mixette, I got a trivia question for you. What's the difference between the movie Avengers and Dinner with Andre?
I don't know.
I'm not my darling.
You are my darling too.
Thank you.
Mixette, what is the key difference between the movie Dinner with Andre and the Avengers?
One of my other favorite people.
You understand that you don't manipulate them. So all this always meant the deal, right? What are you saying?
He's saying that he's sitting in a truck, making a load, depositing some inventory. Mixette, what's the key difference between the movie Avengers and Dinner with Andre?
That's better be good because it's a lot of buildup.
Exactly, very.
I'm not sure where you're going with that. It's weird because my dinner, I guess because Wallace Shawn had a play off Broadway recently, my Dinner with Andre came up in my feed again. I was thinking,
Wallace Shawn.
I'm sorry.
It's not the riddle of the Sphinx here. What's the key difference between Dinner with Andre and the movie Avengers?
Hey, what's the connection?
Avengers is a movie about theism. Dinner with Andre is a movie about atheism.
I'm going to watch it again. Have you watched it recently, John?
I bought the DVD because Mixette told me it was good. And basically, it's just two faggot atheists sitting around sipping coffee.
Like what the Seinfeld did about It's supposed to be a fascinating conversation with a very interesting and important theater director, Andre Gregory, and Wallace Shawn, who you may know was the son of the great editor of the New Yorker. I think was, I don't know, he was known as Mr. Shawn. I forget if it was William Shawn or something. Jewish guy, by the way. I think Wallace was married to a great short story writer, Deborah Eisenstadt. This is just from memory.
Yeah. Kitover's held it against me that I recommended that movie to him because he very much disliked it, even though it seems to have stuck with him for years.
Wait, you recommended it years ago?
Yeah, years ago. No, Kitover like brings it up like almost any time he's in a room.
That's right.
You didn't go see the new play by him, did you?
I recommended a movie and given me my dinner with Andre. Like, how could you do that to me? It's like very personal for him.
Well, it's an unusual recommendation. It's like it's only for certain people. It's almost like an anti-movie.
And I thought Kitover might appreciate it. Instead, he took it very personally.
I guess he doesn't like being bored. Might be an adventure.
Nah, I'm only bringing it up because it is a movie about two faggot atheists wasting all their time talking about nothing. It's like a podcast about nothing. It's the dumbest, stupidest, most boring, and that's why I compared it to Avengers, because Avengers is like, well, goddamn, you gotta believe in God, right? All these superpowers, and you got the fucking AI robot God, and you got the Thor God, and then you got two faggot atheists sitting around in a shitty restaurant, one ugly bald faggot, and another faggot atheist talking about nothing. It's the stupidest faggot atheist movie. It's so fucking boring.
That's anti-Semitic. But by the way, I recommend
Y'all come ask what the topic was today. I said anti-Semitism.
I said that's every day. Come on.
There's a very weird television series called WandaVision. Which
I haven't watched it yet. I heard it was good though.
It's very good. It's a spin-off from the Avengers. There were a few spin-offs I thought were pretty good. Also, is it Hawkeye? No, it's the Avenger who shoots arrows, played by Jeremy Renner.
Right.
And it's
that's all.
That one's kind of fun.
That's Hawkeye. Who in the comic books went on to lead the West Coast Avengers. That was one of my favorite comic books as a kid. The West Coast Avengers. Hawkeye took Iron Man and Wonder Man, and they moved to LA. Like, the cool Hollywood Avengers.
Hawkeye. Wasn't he the guy on MASH?
No, that was great. I don't know.
There was a character named
Hawkeye. One of the greatest clergy portrayals of all time.
Father
McCahey.
Yeah.
What a great sort of
Did
positive.
they have an episode where he helped a Jewish soldier? They must have.
I'm sure they did.
Hey, since we got a minion going here, I got a question, because Rabbi Caleb in the other room was poo-pooing on the self, the individual, and saying we have to help the collective whole, particularly the most downtrodden and destitute in society. But in the words of the famous paradox of the Comte de Phoenix, he writes, "The absolute rule of the state shall be a function of the absolute liberty of each individual will." So what is this individual will that the Comte de Phoenix is speaking of?
One of the best books I've read in the past 20 years was called, probably 25 years, was called The One, the Three, and the Many by a guy named Colin Gunton. I think they're originally his Bampton lectures in the UK. And he talks about this. He talks about that Western culture is really the struggle between Heraclitus and Parmenides, right? Heraclitus, everything is individual, moving, chaos. Parmenides, everything is the one. For Heraclitus, unity is the illusion. For Parmenides, diversity is the illusion. And then this is an ongoing battle, right? And if you go with Heraclitus, you wind up with atavistic individualism and libertarianism and the sort of unregulated excesses of capitalism. If you go with Parmenides, you wind up with statism and collectivism, and people get into sort of Eastern thought that sees everything as the one. So this is the kind of constant tension got conceived in the story of the West.
See, Shuki has a solution for that. So, Shuki, what do you say? The thing about Muhammad Ben Ghazala, that's kind of the response to what Scott's talking about, the one identity versus the individual will. And Scott, all I got to say is it's a little bit like being a capitalist and a socialist, which is what we currently are. We are a state-run economy. 45% of our economy is borrowed and spent on the economy. That is the unity of state and economics. And then we have the separation of church and state. But I suggest we separate state and economics because Medicare, Medicaid is not a human right. Mega health groups and healthcare executives that make 1.2 million a year and the group makes 100 million in revenue for all these community health groups throughout the whole country. It's the biggest tax. It's such a ripoff. I don't like the doctors. Ayn Rand has a chapter dedicated to doctors.
The country is not with you on this. The country
Yeah.
is
Too late.
40, I don't know where you get this. The math doesn't. His math isn't mathing. 45%.
65% of the country. This is wild. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just saying 65% of the country is for Medicare for all. 65%. Now, you can't get 65% of the people to say sex is good or puppies are cute, but 65% of the culture of the American populace says if we could have health insurance tomorrow, we'd want Medicare for all.
Now, I'm willing to say puppies are good and sex is good. No, sex is cute and puppies are good. I'm
willing to say puppy sex is, good because it gives us more puppies.
No, I think
the only thing you can get more than 65% of people on Medicare is an anti-Semitism.
I think it's puppyphilia. I think what you call it is puppyphilia.
Yeah, probably.
But that's interesting to me why no one runs on this, right? I mean, no one. I mean, it seems like even if
Well, that guy running for Senate, the Muslim guy running for Senate in Michigan is.
Oh yeah, he's a handsome guy.
And he can't define it. When someone says, "What is Medicaid for all?"
Medicare for all. Medicare.
Yeah, sorry, Medicare. Yeah, not Medicaid. That sucks. Right? Yeah, Medicare.
No,
I always
Medicaid
get
does not suck. Medicaid does not suck.
No, I know.
Medicaid.
Whatever. I always get the two confused. I always have to think before they really need a word that's so different that it's not easily confused.
Or care.
Exactly. Like Indigicare.
Digicare? Is that what you just said?
See, then I would have no problem. Like my brain could separate the two.
But 65%. I mean, think about that. That's a huge swath of the country, right? I mean, that's what public policy do you have 65% for?
Free air.
I mean, maybe pro-choice for its top was 60, right? I mean, not that all people that were pro-choice were sympathetic to abortions, but I think at the best polling you would get like high 50s, right? Is that right? I think.
Let's see. I'm gonna look it up.
But that's crazy that so many people want Medicare for all, and that the only really people on the far left advocate for this. I mean, it seems like a winner of a thing. If you were a moderate Democrat and you just wanted to get votes, or even a moderate Republican. And by the stuff I've read, again, you got all this stuff. You have to read everything and just make your own judgments. But the stuff I've read is that Medicare for all would ultimately be a cost saver. That ultimately healthcare costs in the country would get.
Okay, so here's, you want to know the things that cut above 60%?
Yes.
Legal abortion, in at least some circumstances, typically polls around 60 to 65%.
Like when the baby's not cute.
Strict.
Excuse me, El Normo, I just want to say that yesterday in Politically Correct, when you were accused of working with me and that we were going to the White House, I was dying laughing. I don't know where that came from, but I thought that was very funny.
Well, are you the one that told them about our attempt to take over the government? Did you tell them about it? Because I never peeped a word about it.
Sorry for interrupting, Yakov. Are you on a phone call? But I'm just I'm just mentioning.
I was going through my list. Come on, guys. Thank you. So legal abortion in at least some circumstances. Stricter gun laws, often 55 to 65%. Support stricter gun laws, control measures through support varies widely by specific proposal and states, clearly. Marijuana legalization, generally 65 to 70%. Wow, 70%.
This is
Pathway.
why we're not governed by polls.
Well, we're not Switzerland. Pathway to citizenship for many undocumented immigrants. 60 to 70% support. Wow. Especially if paired with broader security measures at the border. Yeah, I would agree. Would definitely agree with that. Background checks for all gun purchases, 85 to 90%. And death penalty for people convicted of murder, often 55 to 60% support in recent years. See if there's
So wouldn't you just be like why wouldn't the independent candidate just go and say these are my positions?
This is my platform.
I'm like sitting here. Yes.
Polls are borderline meaningless.
I agree with that.
Number two, Bernie did run on Medicare for all, and
He didn't do badly. He didn't do badly.
He did not do badly. That's quite true. But what's also true is that most of the country did not want Obamacare and voted against it, and when it was on a state level. So it's a mixed bag. Not everybody wants state-run healthcare.
See, when you say Medicare for all or even Obamacare, you're just talking about federal spending for health insurance corps and the health industry. And what is the return on investment on those trillions? Ladies and gentlemen, it's very, very bad. It's mostly for investment banks to continue to make profits for defunct hospital groups, insurance carriers, and big pharma corps that shouldn't be entitled to all these federal profits. Without the federal borrowing and spending, they would have no net income. We're living in a fixed, arranged political, financial, industrial complex. If you can't identify this or accurately call it out, you're a fool. And that's okay. That's the beginning of the tarot. The fou, le fou. That's how you say it in French. Le fou.
The whole bizarre lecture thing that you're doing, it's a bit of a turnoff. So you're in the room because you're welcome and you're a supporter of us and a supporter of Jews.
Well, Rabbono Shalom, El Normo, you said that I'm a performative artist in the politically correct room. You think that's accurate?
I don't know. Don't you think that? Isn't that what you're doing?
I have more issues.
I said you were a performance artist because I'm trying to figure out why you come into rooms and say these weird things and do all the recording and stuff. I'm trying to find a way to make you understandable to other people. But you turn off a lot of people. And, you and I are on a good level, I think, but it's not clear why you do these things. I'm sort of trying to avoid saying that you're a little nuts.
I was going to say mental illness. I was going to go straight there.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid. So, what do you want to respond, John, to what I'm saying?
I like John. Don't get me wrong.
I've had really nice conversations with you.
I'm a huge John fan.
But sometimes you come into a room and you say the weirdest things and nobody knows what to do with them.
It's word salad.
It's not exactly word salad. It's
throwing around concepts that aren't connected.
Yeah, but our philosophy that makes sense to him. Now, when Kamala would speak, she would just put words together and they didn't.
Well, Rabbono Shalom, this is a room. It's called Manic Monday. If you don't like my manic speech, I apologize. I love you all. I pray for your personal peace and your light to enhance. Maybe you could read some Kabbalah, maybe a little poem to enlighten us all, give us a little more light in our lives.
We just come in and say Rabbono Shalom and say all communication is hypnosis. You've come a long way saying that. I don't know why they thought that you and I were going to take over the government. Well, she literally said that in Politically Correct last night. He and I were plotting to take over the government.
Yeah, well, the FBI's now opened a case on you, so be careful. So, Scott, I have more issues for the independent campaign platform.
But that's not interesting.
Listing statistics is not conversation.
No, these are things that poll above 65%. They're
Right. It's not conversation to just make a list of things.
Yeah, but we had a good conversation with the last thing, so I disagree.
It doesn't. No, I don't think that was a good conversation. You're just reading out statistics.
And then Scott and I were talking about it, and other people were talking about them. So
okay, the thing that was interesting is healthcare for all. That was the part. Now we're having a conversation. And it doesn't really have to do with the polling. It has to do with the principle. And by the way,
it has to do with support. You can't. The principle could be great, but if 2% of the people like it, it's not going to go anywhere.
It doesn't go anywhere. It's never going to happen. It has nothing to do with the polling.
Chris, maybe he's got to be at 40.
What do you think, Scott?
He's got to be.
Who are you talking about?
I'm sorry. What were we saying there?
You said Chris who has to be.
Yeah, what are you talking about, Scott? Are you okay?
Maybe you're talking to.
Wanting to find out what that means.
Are you having a conversation in real life?
No, one of my roommates was saying, could somebody, he had shorts that he was going to give away, and I'm too stoked for them.
Okay. I thought you were having a seizure or a stroke. I was afraid you were having a stroke.
I agree. So my 32s are baggy on me.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for that information. That's really helpful.
Over the years, I've been with a lot of you. Thank you for the more information.
Been with us.
I've lost a lot of weight over the years.
Randy, didn't see you there. How you doing, Randy?
High protein diet, by the way. That's key. I think high protein.
Low carbs.
Low carbs and lots of protein. Get lots of protein. This is, although, there's a debate about how much. I think it's a little excessive. People are saying if you're working out, a lot of the fitness enthusiasts are saying a gram for every pound, which regrets protein. I mean, that would for me. That would be
those guys are kind of aging out a little bit.
I mean, you're talking that would be like.
I mean,
a chicken breast is like.
This is about the perfect
20 grams.
This isn't
that's
about
like
a reason.
9 chicken breasts.
This is about the best candidate that the Democrats have, and I think that the best candidate they have is Gavin Newsom.
I agree. Because based just on the aesthetic, he's got the best hair, the best suit, the best jawline.
Somehow he left California to ashes, and I've been watching this suit. Somehow he's relatively
a bar might have 30.
This is what you want to do. You want to look at the protein.
Sardines might have 30.
Sardines are amazing. This is what you want to do. You want to take
cheese. I'd rather Greek yogurt.
Look at the protein bar. Look at the cheese. Times it by 10. Like, let's say it's got 20 grams. Times it by 10, and then see if the protein is more times 10 is more than the calories.
Right.
If the protein is more than the calories, it's a good protein source. If not, it's just a candy bar with like there are these Gator.
Scott, the real question is not how much cum you drink, but how do you cook your New York strip? Do you use butter? Do you use garlic? Do you use salt and pepper seasonings? How do you cook your steak?
Garlic. My eyebrows went up on that one.
Garlic bad for you?
Minced garlic is great for your gut health. Next time you cook a delicious New York strip, be sure to put some minced garlic on the top of your New York strip before you eat it with A1 sauce and put it in your mouth. My mouth is just dripping with drool thinking about my next New York strip.
Shuki, what do you have to say? Shuki, say your piece, please.
And fun. There is great chapters in school. And I think that you all can tell one.
Well, Silvio Berlusconi said that after 20 years of thinking about gay, I'm 20% gay. I'm a lesbian. That's what Berlusconi said, Shuki.
What are we Shuki now?
20% Shuki?
20% Shuki.
It's 20% human being, 80% stupid.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, come on, dude.
Sorry, Randy. It's some new material I'm working on. It's like vaudeville. Look, we've almost got a minion. Oh, we need 2 more. No. We need a little more than that. But Rabono Shola, is anybody going to read a poem here this morning to uplift everybody's spirits? Maybe take the deepest breath of the day.
Was that you cleaning out your bong?
No, but I got a new outfit on. I got a clown suit on. I'm going to put a link in the chat.
Just for Kitover.
No, don't censor him. Please don't censor him, Scott.
This is by the great William Carlos Williams.
Yeah, I've eaten the plums.
So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. There you go, everybody.
A flexible flyer kind of thing.
There you go. That's the great William Carlos. That poem is a fuck you to T.S. Eliot and James Joyce and the paleo-modernists. It's saying that, you shouldn't need to know all this Western history and have to know it all to read The Wasteland. That I can write a great poem if it's just looking at rain and wheelbarrow. Fuck you, T.S. Eliot. There it is.
Well, Scott, that's a wonderful thing. It's beautiful. And it is interesting, Randy, that it wasn't the poem that most people think of when they think of their favorite William Carlos Williams poem. And I want to share with you a story about somebody that I was friends with. Well, they wasn't a very popular or nice guy, but I knew him. Somebody I knew in college, whose name was Franz Wright. I don't know if you guys get the New Yorker. If any of you do, does anybody even read anything on paper anymore? I'm still trying. I still get
I listen to AM radio and I read paper.
Right. So, but you don't subscribe to the New Yorker.
The name drop. No, I will not give money to the New York Times.
All right. No, I said the New Yorker.
Oh, New Yorker's great, yeah.
Okay. Do you subscribe to it?
No, read the poem.
It's not a poem. So there was a guy that I knew in college named Franz Wright, whose father was a great poet. And, like a lot of pretentious college students, this guy said he was a poet. Well, he actually was a poet. He was actually a really good poet. He won the Pulitzer Prize a couple years ago for a book of poetry called Walking to Martha's Vineyard. And he was an absolute nutcase. He was completely out of his mind. He had really severe mental illness. He was also a magnificent poet. And there's an article about him. He died a while ago. He kind of smoked himself to death. One of those people that smokes nonstop. He gets lung cancer and dies and whatever it is. Raymond Carver. I don't know if you guys are, if you like literature and poetry.
Yeah, we know Raymond Carver. Keep going.
I don't know if we do.
Let's put the point. Let's put the point.
Finish one. And he had a horrible relationship with his father. And when he told his father he was going to be a poet, sent him a poem. His father said, "I'll be damned. You can write." Well, that's a fucking lie. That was the thing. I like it.
Wait, I'm sorry, Al Normal. Can you repeat the last part? I missed it. I apologize.
The person that really turned me on to that Williams poem and significance is an Israeli scholar. Well, I don't know if he's from Israel, but he teaches at the University of Tel Aviv named Jeffrey Pearl. And he's written on James Joyce and T.S. Eliot. He wrote like one of the definitive books on T.S. Eliot guys. Yeah. Just amazing, Jeffrey Pearl.
You asking me to be friends with you, and all you can wake up is leftist motherfucker.
Speak.
What are you upset about? I don't get it.
Who are you interacting with, Shuki? Randy?
Yeah. Fucking piece of shit. Lefty motherfucker. Randy is not a lefty motherfucker.
I know Shuki has it in his head that I'm a lefty. What did I do now? What is my problem today, Shuki?
Well, okay. I mean, all right.
You see, if you haven't been able to see Shuki's PTR, it says go sit on a cactus. So if you haven't sat on a cactus yet today, just listen to the words and the language coming out of Shuki's mouth. If you haven't sat on a cactus yet today, because this will be your moment to where your brain and your central nervous system will sit on a cactus and you'll say, what's going on with my body right now? I'm hurting all over. It's because I'm sitting on a cactus. Ouch. Hello?
Okay, bro. On a whole other topic. You mentioned the New Yorker. Yeah. You mentioned which is run by a Jewish guy, David Remnick, and is pretty ambivalent about Israel. I hate.
Can we get Bow Wow up on the stage? We've almost got the minion. The minion is forming.
You're getting repetitive, okay? You're getting repetitive. You have OCD, and you're getting
Bow Wow! Bow Wow! Bring up the patrilineal, please. I need more representation.
doing that. Nobody's doing that. You know it is. Yeah, John. I think it's time for just to maybe start your own room. No, don't.
Well, before I get kicked, just go ahead and look at my PTR. I got a clown outfit on. I'm live on YouTube, and I'm in the audience in Anonymous. This is a progressive liberal production, produced by John Kitover, executive co-producer Randy El Normo, Yakov and Scott and Grace. And Grace, if you could just give us a little prayer under your wings.
No, I think someplace in my memory banks I noticed something. I don't know if I thought of you. I'll share it with you. I'll find it. It's one of the best songs. It was a guy who went to college with JFK Jr. and it had a lot of little vignettes about him. You know, because I was surprised to see him mentioned because he's been dead so long. Well, they had the TV series on Hulu, whatever it was. You know, John and Caroline Love Story. Love Story. Right, and brought back a lot of memories in his, and of course, you know, Schlossberg ran for Congress. So the name has been back out there a little, but yeah, no, it was really, you know, JFK Jr. really wanted to be an actor. You know, he loved theater, he loved acting in plays all through college, and he hung out with the jocks. But everybody had huge expectations of him, including his own mother wanted him to get to politics. She didn't go to law school, and maybe go to the theater stuff. He would have been happy being in. And then they just talk about the whole thing, leading up to his death, and it's a great article.